So now as we're thinking about the decision-making unit, let me break it down into two different parts. We have the primary roles. Let's focus on the primary roles for a second. These are the most important people to focus on at the beginning. And of them, there are three key people. Or shall we say three key functions, because it may be one person, but it could be three people. The first one is the end user. The end user is the person who actually uses your product. And when they use that product, some value is created for them or for somebody else. So the first person is the end user, and that's where we always talk about people starting. Secondly, the economic buyer is the one who will pay for the value that is created. That may be the same person as the end user. It may be somebody else. In the case of buying a computer, if I bought this computer, then I am the economic buyer, I am the user, I get the value from that.
But if the computer is being used at work, likely MIT was the primary economic buyer and we are the end user.
Exactly. It's not necessarily dependent on the product, it's dependent on the situation in which you sell it. Another one is that people are, from a consumer standpoint, is example of Google. Google, we all use Google. Do we pay for it? No, we don't pay for it. Who pays for it? Well, we're the user. The economic buyer, on the other hand, is the advertiser. They're the ones who are paying, but they'll only pay because we use it, and then they get to advertise to us. In this case, you see a clear delineation between the economic buyer and the end user. Now, those are two very important people. Who else could be important? The third function or person is the champion. And the champion is the person who will advocate to get your product acquired. Whether that's the same function as the end user and the economic buyer, doesn't matter. Newton's first law of motion says standing bodies remain still. Moving bodies continue to move. Right now, we have a customer that's not moving. So we need to get them moving, and the champion is the propulsion engine that will get this moving. And the champion is someone that wants to see this happen. And that may be the same as the end user, it may be the same as the economic buyer. It often is the same as the end user. So all three of these can be the same, but they're not always the same.
If the champion is not the end user, I understand when an end user is a champion, you want to
Right.
use a product and so you're championing it. But why would anyone be incented to champion if that person is not the end user?
Great question. I mean, often they are one and the same. The user gets the value and they want it, and they're the champion. But not always so. I had one team that was selling water filtration systems to data centers. So the facilities manager at the data center is the end user. They use this system. If they use it, it produces more efficient cooling of the data center. It reduces CO2 emissions. So he has to use it to do that. The budget it comes out of, that could be his or that could be the data center managers. But neither of them are going to be super inspired, super motivated to buy a system because it might adversely affect their reliability. They were interested, but not that interested. They were much more interested in reliability. So who advocated in that? The company found success by going to the Green Czar, the chief sustainability officer.
That's who really cares.
Yeah, and that person, even though they didn't have the budget and they weren't the user, they said, this seems like a good solution. Let me advocate for you inside the organization and push this through. And they were very effective. They went to the end user, they went to the economic and said, this is a good idea. By the way, they went to the CEO of the company and said, if we're going to meet our targets of reducing our CO2 emissions, this is a good project. So think about it now. Here's the facilities manager deciding whether they want to get this system. It marginally makes sense, there are higher priorities. But now their boss and their boss's boss is saying, hey, this is a good project. All of a sudden, it becomes interesting to the facilities manager. So there's a case in a business-to-business environment where the champion is advocating, evangelizing inside where you, the vendor, can't go to advocate for your product.
You're saying that you've got to pay attention to the end user and the economic buyer, but importantly, not to forget about the champion who can be a different person. And so you can be solving the customer's problem in a superior way. You can know who the end user is, who the economic buyer, but still not make sales because you don't have a champion.
That's right.